Did you know that Eric Dane, the man most people remember as Mcsteamy from Grey's Anatomy, once said he never expected that nickname to stick? It's wild to think that one towel scene could define a career, but his story is so much bigger than that moment.
That's exactly what I was thinking. People know him for that iconic entrance, but when you look at his life, it's clear he was so much more than just a charming TV doctor. His journey is full of resilience, transformation, and some really surprising turns.
And that's what we're diving into today. Eric Dane's life wasn't just about the roles he played. It was about how he faced challenges head-on, whether it was personal loss, addiction, or even a terminal illness. His story is one of grit and heart, and it deserves to be told in full.
Start at the beginning, back in San Francisco, where his story began. Eric William Dane was born on November 9th, 1972, and from the start, his life was marked by tragedy. When he was just 7 years old, his father died by suicide.
That kind of loss at such a young age, it's the kind of thing that leaves a permanent mark. It's not something you just move past. But what's remarkable is how he found something to hold on to. Something that gave him purpose. Acting.
Discovered acting in high school. It was a production of Arthur Miller's All My Sons that really changed everything for him. He played Joe Keller, and that role seemed to unlock something in him. It was like he found a way to channel his own experiences into something meaningful.
When you think about it, it makes sense. All My Sons is such a heavy play. It's about fathers and sons, legacy and moral responsibility. For a teenager who had already experienced such profound loss, stepping into that role must have felt deeply personal.
From that moment on, he was all in. He grew up with a Jewish identity from his mother's side, had a bar mitzvah, and a younger brother at home. But he set his sights on acting and started the grind of building a career from the ground up.
And those early years were tough. He took small roles in shows like Married with Children in 1995, Silk Stockings in 1996, and Roseanne that same year. These weren't the kinds of roles that made headlines, but they were the building blocks of his career.
Then came Charmed. He had a recurring role as Jason Dean from 1998 into the early 2000s. That was his first real taste of visibility, the kind of screen time that lets people see what you're capable of.
But even with that momentum, nothing in those early years could have predicted what came next.
Season 2 of Grey's Anatomy, an episode called Yesterday. That's where it all starts. Eric Dane made a guest appearance that landed so hard, by season 3 he was a full series regular.
The way he entered that show, it's one of those TV moments people still talk about. He walks out of a steam-filled bathroom in just a towel, and the internet collectively loses its mind. That's where the nickname Mcsteamy was born.
His character, Dr. Mark Sloan, was a plastic surgeon and the perfect foil to Patrick Dempsey's McDreamy. Where McDreamy was brooding and complicated, Mcsteamy was confident, a little dangerous, and completely unapologetic. The dynamic between the two characters was electric.
What's funny is that Eric later said he had no idea that scene would leave such a cultural footprint. He just showed up, did the job, and walked out of the bathroom. The rest happened around him.
He spent 8 full seasons on Grey's Anatomy, 145 episodes in total. That's years of his life dedicated to one character. And Dr. Mark Sloan wasn't just a one-note character. He started as an antagonist but grew into someone the audience genuinely loved.
His relationship with Lexi Gray, played by Chyler Lee, became one of the most beloved storylines in the series. When both characters were killed off in the season 8 finale, fans were devastated. And that heartbreak wouldn't have hit as hard if Eric Dane hadn't made Mark Sloan so real.
He even returned to Grey's 9 years later in 2021 for a guest appearance. And the fan reaction? It just showed how much that character still meant to people. Mcsteamy was unforgettable.
But here's the thing. Eric Dane's career was so much bigger than Grey's Anatomy.
Absolutely. He was in X-Men: The Last Stand in 2006, playing Jamie Madrox, aka Multiple Man. Then there was Marley and Me in 2008, Valentine's Day in 2010, and Burlesque that same year. He was moving across genres, showing his range as an actor.
And when his time on Grey's ended, he didn't slow down. He jumped straight into The Last Ship, a TNT military drama produced by Michael Bay. That show ran for 5 seasons, from 2014 to 2018.
It was a completely different kind of role for him. Action-heavy, high stakes, and very physical. He played Captain Tom Chandler, and at the time he said, "We're just trying to make the Navy proud." That tells you a lot about how he approached his work. It wasn't about him. It was about the team and the story.
Then came Euphoria in 2019. If anyone thought they had Eric Dane figured out, that role changed everything. He played Cal Jacobs, a deeply repressed and conflicted character. It was raw, uncomfortable, and completely different from Mcsteamy.
That role really shifted the conversation around him. People started to see him as an actor who could carry serious, dramatic weight. It wasn't just about charm anymore. It was about depth.
And he kept working. Bad Boys Ride or Die in 2024 and in 2025, an Amazon Prime crime drama called Countdown, where he played an FBI agent. He was working right up until he couldn't anymore.
But his personal life was just as complex and compelling as his career.
He married actress Rebecca Gayheart in 2004, and they had 2 daughters, Billy and Georgia. Family was everything to him.
Their marriage went through some very public challenges. In 2009, a private video involving Eric, Rebecca, and a third person was leaked online. And in 2011, Eric entered a treatment facility for dependency on prescription painkillers after a physical injury.
What stands out is how he handled those moments. He didn't hide. He was honest about his struggles and got the help he needed.
In 2017, production on The Last Ship paused because Eric was dealing with depression. Again, no excuses, no cover-ups, just honesty. That kind of openness is rare, especially in Hollywood.
In 2018, Rebecca filed for divorce, but they remained legally separated for years. Then, in 2025, she dismissed the divorce petition entirely. In her own words, their relationship had evolved into a familial love.
When Eric passed, the family statement confirmed he spent his final days surrounded by Rebecca and their daughters. Whatever their relationship looked like, they were there for each other when it mattered most.
That brings us to the last chapter of his life, the ALS diagnosis.
Early 2024, he started noticing weakness in his right hand. After months of seeing specialists, the diagnosis came back, ALS. It's a progressive disease with no cure.
He went public with the diagnosis in April 2025 and gave an incredibly moving interview with Diane Sawyer. He was so clear-eyed about what was happening to his body. He said, "I'm fighting as much as I can. There's so much about it that's out of my control."
By October 2025, he was using a wheelchair full-time, but even then he was still working. His final acting credit was a guest role on Brilliant Minds, playing a firefighter with ALS. It was art imitating life in the most profound way.
He also partnered with the nonprofit I Am ALS and became a passionate advocate for awareness and research. And he was writing a memoir, Book of Days, a memoir in moments, set to be published this year.
His legacy is enormous. ABC called his impact on Grey's Anatomy lasting and described his final years as full of courage and grace. I Am ALS called him part of their family.
Humility, humor, and visibility. Those words capture who he was. A man who faced every challenge with honesty and heart.
Eric William Dane, born November 9th, 1972, died February 19th, 2026. Father, a husband, an actor, and an advocate. He lived with heart.
Thank you for spending this time with us. If this story moved you, share it. And if you're able, consider supporting I Am ALS in his honor.
Rest easy, Mcsteamy. You'll never be forgotten.